They may make you laugh. They may make you cry. They may make you so angry that you freak out and walk out the door. They may hurt your feelings. You may not want to be around them. And who are these people I'm talking about? I'm talking about your family. Your family. And this video is about family in recovery and how I dealt with my family in recovery. Okay, my name is Terry G. If you could take a second, please subscribe. Take another second and hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. The first thing I want to talk about when it comes to family matters is TikTok videos, reels, all that kind of stuff. There's all kinds of videos, short videos out there that say, if you have a problem with your family, you need to throw them out the window. Get rid of them. That's what you need to do. Just get rid of them. They're toxic. Throw them away. Well, that sounds really sexy and really, final, and it sounds easy. But for me, it wasn't. I tried cutting my family off. And let me tell you something. I don't care if you cut your family off for 1 day or 20 years. You're still going to think about them because we're just wired like that. Nature tells us we're just wired. Some members you might have to cut off. I get it. They might do extreme things that you have to get rid of them. I get that part. But just for normal, average families, cutting them off, I don't think is a really good idea. I think it's kind of dysfunctional to cut loved ones off, especially brothers and sisters and mums and dads. I just find that over the top. So, but how do you deal with it? How do you deal with family members in recovery? Well, at the start, I had a lot of resentments against my family. Lots. And I couldn't sort them out. My sister was getting married and I couldn't go to that wedding. So my friend in a 12-step program said, Terry, just send her a telegram. Just send her a telegram. Why you can't be there. So I did. And she loved it. I never went. And that was very early sobriety. That was probably maybe 6 months into it. And let me tell you something. I was in pain when it came to my family. I couldn't be around them. I wouldn't handle things well. It was better for me not to be there. So resentments were a big influencer when it came to my family. In early recovery, it was very hard for me to sort them out. So stepping back or cutting them off was probably a good idea at the beginning. But long term, that wasn't the plan. The plan was for me to be a family person, right? Get involved with my brothers and sisters, my nieces and my nephews, all those sort of things. Get involved with them. So sitting back, working out with some resentments, working a program of recovery, all those sort of things enabled me to have some sort of reasonable relationship with my mom and dad, my brothers and sisters, my niece and nephews. It was awkward, especially off the booze, because before I was always drunk or smoking the weed. So those relationships, sober, felt weird, felt totally weird, believe me. But they did come about in a big, happy way. So at the beginning, you might want to sort of just lower your expectations of yourself and where you're at in your sobriety, and maybe stepping back a little bit if you have some problems with your family might be a good idea, might be a great idea. Another one I did is that my family are not big phone callers. They're not big visitors. And I used to whine to my mentor in a 12-step program, my sponsor in a 12-step program. And that person told me, Terry, if you want to have a relationship with your family, you're going to have to get off your butt and be the one to start it. Be the one to get it going. And I didn't like what he was saying, because I was pissed off that they never called me. But he was absolutely right. He says, if you want any sort of relationship with your brothers and sisters, you need to call them, go down and see them. I live in Ottawa. They live in the Toronto area, Whitby, actually, Ontario, and participate. And I used to call up. I would tell them, and I'd whine like crazy. They don't want anything to do with me. They never come and see me. They never blah, blah, blah. And he says, Terry, I told you, you need to keep doing it. And I did it. And I've done it for 30 years. I've lowered my expectations. My family's just not a phone people. They just don't call you. But when you call them, they talk to you. So that's what I did. So the relationship, I had to rebuild that relationship. I had to rebuild. Also, what helped me a lot with my family in early recovery was making amends to them, right? Walking up to them and cleaning up my side of the street and apologizing to them the things I did. A lot of them said there was nothing I did. A lot of them sort of let me off the hook because I don't know why, but they did. But I apologized anyways because I knew that there's a lot of things that I did. Lied to them, told them stories, not showing up at their kids' weddings, not my mom would have a nice dinner. I'd be drunk, passed up outside, upstairs at in my niece's or nephew's bedroom on the floor, drunk. After, she'd be cooking a nice turkey dinner at Christmas time. That happened. I stole from my mother. I did a lot of terrible things to my mother. So I needed to make those amends. And when those amends were made, I felt better about my situation. So those relationships improved. And one thing that I hear all the time, I'm all over the place right now. One thing I hear all the time in programmers' recoveries is that your family doesn't have a program. And I can't stand that. I can't stand when people say that because you know why? They don't have to have a program. They don't have to have a program of recovery because they're not the alcoholic. I am the alcoholic. I am. But I have to understand that what they're trying to say is that maybe they got a little bit of dysfunction going on. Maybe they do because they lived in the same house. The mom and dad put the buttons in there. They made that dysfunction happen within my family. So we have to understand and keep an open mind to them. When it came to my parents, one of the biggest awakenings I had with my parents that I was speaking one night, and I said to myself, I've done the best I can for what I have to work with. And I said that. And this light came on, and I said to myself, if I could say that to myself, why can't I say that about my parents? And that was the day I stopped blaming my parents for the way I was. I let them off the hook because I blame my mom and dad for the way I turned out. And let me tell you something, in early recovery and late alcoholism, careers, I was a basket case. I couldn't handle myself. I was all over the place. I blame my mom and dad for that. I blame my mom and dad for everything that happened to me, the way I turned out up to that point, and then I just stopped. And what else came into my life? When it came in, my mom and dad they are not responsible for the way I am today. It's my life. It's not their life. I let them off the hook, and instantaneously, it was like a spiritual awakening. Instantaneously, my relationship with my parents improved. They were divorced, but each of them, their relationship with me improved. My mom passed away when I was 36. I had about 5 years of recovery. It was wonderful. It's not wonderful that she passed away, but our relationship was good. When she died and she passed on to the other world, I didn't have any resentments or things that I needed to say. And that's because I worked the program of recovery and I had the courage to say the things to my mom that needed to be said. And that relationship wasn't 100%, but it was a hell of a lot better. And the blame game stopped. And that's truth. That's the truth. This woman I tortured, and for years in recovery, she was, I did everything I could to build a healthy and loving relationship with my mom. And my dad was the same. I blame my father. Same sort of thing happened. He was a little harder to get, to sort of thing. And it comes from the old school, no emotion. He wouldn't talk to you like that. But the relationship itself grew and it became healthy and happy. And we had a lot of laughs. I had a lot of laughs with my dad. He passed away when I was, 16, 17 years of sobriety. He passed away. So my relationships with my family are not perfect. They're not perfect. But one thing, what really helps me when it comes to my family is this. Understanding they came from the same upbringing as me. Lowering my expectations. They are not in the program. They didn't have, 20 years of therapy like I've had. They didn't have that. I've worked on my issues and they don't need it. A lot of them don't need it. So that's one thing I have to do. Stop adding to the problem. When I show up to an event, or I show up to something, or somebody's complaining about somebody else, I don't add to it. I don't sit there and start gossiping about the other individual. I don't do that. So adding to the situation, or adding to the anger, or adding to their opinion of negativity, I stopped doing that. I don't do that. So I stopped adding to the problem. I became a good listener, a good communicator, but a better listener. Shut my mouth and listen a little better, and do not add to the problem. Do not add to the problem. Another one is that I do is I set boundaries. I set boundaries with people, with my family. I have some boundaries. I don't tell them about it. I just set them. There's certain things, certain areas I don't go to. And one of them I just talked about. I don't go to that place and bash on my other family members. That's a boundary for me. My mother used to do it all the time, drive me nuts. That's a firm boundary with me, that I don't sit there and let other family members bash other family members. No one's perfect. No one is. And it's including you, and it's including me. No one's perfect. They're not. They're not. And the most important thing that I think I've learned in my recovery is that, and I've said this before in other videos, is that I used to put my family, I put my friends here and my family sort of in a different category. And those categories were expectation categories, right? I expected my family to treat me differently, and I treated them differently than it would to a friend. I was harsher to them. My expectations were greater. So I had to lower my expectations of my family and start treating them like they were friends of mine. But the last thing I want to leave you with, and I think it's the most important thing, well, one of the most important things, is that where's our place in it? Where's our place in the dynamics, the family dynamics? Where do we stand? I was a raging alcoholic drug addict. My parents had to watch that for years. I was in and out of jail, just overnight, day court sort of thing. They had to watch that. They had to watch me change jobs, basically become homeless. They had to watch all that. Watch their son become a raging lunatic and not understand what was going on. Going into my mom's apartment, kicking things, yelling at her in her apartment. It was an old age apartment. Doing things like that. Putting terror into her. I did those things. So my part, my side of the street, had to be cleaned up, and I had to understand that I am not a saint in this realm of family members. I'm not. I played a role too. It's not all their fault the relationship or the family dynamics broke down. I played a role in it too. But there's one thing I can do also. I can play in the role of making a healthier, functional family. So when I go to those weddings, we can have fun. When we go to those funerals, we can be sad and talk about things. When there's a new baby born in the family, we can rejoice and have fun together. Sit at a table and talk about the good old days, like brothers and sisters should do. That's what it's like now. My relationships with my family are pretty damn good. We've had family reunions in sobriety. We've had birthday parties. We've went to weddings. I went to a wedding last summer in Quebec. Had a great time there. Fantastic time. Rebuilding the family is first understanding where our part is and understanding who they are. Understanding them, I think, has a lot more to do with it. Becoming a great listener, a small talker, and stop adding to the dysfunction. Be the example even without them knowing it. Be that example. Drug and alcoholism in my family, there's a few of us, believe me. My father was one. He's passed away. There's me, and I think maybe a couple more. I'm not here to judge them, but yeah. But overall, things are not bad. My family is just a normal, run-of-the-mill family that think they're an exception. But let me tell you something. I'm in the addiction world, and they're not the exception. They're not. They're just regular the mill, dysfunctional in some ways and good in other ways family. So I hope this video helped you, because it needs to be said. It needs to be said. We play a role in that family. We play a role, and we can make things happen that are positive within that family. Small or big things, we can make it happen. We can build new, happy, joyous-free memories for people. You know why? Because we're in the program, and we're getting better, and we become more understanding and tolerant and loving and acceptable and acceptance of others. All that kind of stuff, okay? I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a bit of a ramble, but I hope you enjoy it, okay? My name is Terry G. This is an alcohol-free life channel where we're learning to live sober one day at a time. If you can take a second, please subscribe. Take another second and hit that like button. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you later, and ciao for now.